quadratic equation. It's too long and too lengthy to remember. You have 3 minutes remaining to complete this exam. Now I'm going to fail this test and not graduate high school. I wish there was a way that I could solve this equation without the quadratic formula. I'm going to the restroom. I'll be back before you finish. Who are you?
That's not important. I'm here to teach you how to solve quadratic equations without using the quadratic formula. So, when solving quadratic equations, we must first understand what is a quadratic equation. A quadratic equation is an equation where the highest exponent of x is 2, like shown here on the board. The standard form for a quadratic equation is ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. In this example here, x squared plus 7x plus 10 equals 0. There is an invisible 1 before the x, which represents a, 7 represents b, and 10 represents c. There are 3 ways to solve quadratic equations. Today, I'm going to teach you the most efficient and simple way. Now that we know what quadratic equations are, we can find a way how to solve them. The most easy and time-efficient way to solve them is solving by factoring. As we said before, when there's just an x squared, there's always going to be an invisible 1. So the equation we have here is x squared minus 17x minus 18 equals 0. 1 is a, negative 17 is b, and negative 18 is c. The first thing we're going to do is identify a, b, c in the trinomial, which we just did. Next, we're going to write down all factor pairs of c. Factor pairs, which is negative 18. Factor pairs of negative 18. Step 2. Write down all the factors pairs of c. So write down all the variables. One variable times the other variable equals negative 18. So one number times one number equals negative 18. That's what we're trying to find, but it's not as simple as that. Those two factor pairs, those two numbers when added together must equal negative 17. Negative 3 times 6 equals negative 18, but negative 3 plus 6 equals 3, not negative 17. So we try again. 3 plus negative 6 equals negative 3. 2 plus negative 9 equals 7. Negative 1 plus 18 equals 17. Not there, but close. 1 plus negative 18 equals negative 17. So there we go, we have our pair. Let's factor. Now factoring is really just expanding it here. So instead of x squared just being x squared, we're expanding it to put it on both different sides. One in this parentheses, the next in this. So in one of the parentheses, you're going to have your first pair, which is 1. In the next parentheses, you're going to have your second pair, which is negative 18. Now, we're going to set each factor equal to 0. X plus 1 equals 0. X minus 18 equals 0. Now we're going to try and isolate x. So we're going to subtract 1 on both sides. We end up with x equals negative 1. Here we add 18 on both sides. We end up with x equals 18, which are called the solutions, which is negative 1 and 18. You may be uneasy because this is a really important test for you and you want to make sure you got these answers right. How will we check? It's an acronym called FOIL. FOIL. F-O-I-L, which stands for first, outer, inner, and last. So we get our parentheses over here, x plus 1, x minus 18, and we follow the FOIL. First we multiply what's first in the parentheses. X is the first variable in this parentheses, and x is also the first variable in this parentheses. So we multiply x times x, which equals x squared. So we put the x squared under. Now we go to the outer variables, which happens to be x times negative 18, which ends up being negative 18x. Then we get to the inner, which is 1 times x. 1 times x just equals x or 1x. It's the same thing. So we add plus 1x. Now we get to the last variables in the parentheses, 1 and negative 18. So multiply 1 times negative 18. Our answer is negative 18. It stays the same. So let's see here. Let's simplify. Negative 18 plus 1x is negative 17x. Bring down the negative 18. Bring down the x squared. And here we go. We have the same answer as right here. That is how you know that your answer is correct. Your time's up.